Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President and founder of Agile, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. Today, I wanted to talk to you about 5 pitfalls you should avoid during your Agile transformation. So, we all know there's plenty of pitfalls out there, but I wanted to identify 5 that I feel like most organizations struggle with. So, here goes nothing. Coming in at number 5, valuing output over outcome. Now, this is when you see behaviors that are, well, how many backlog items are we completed, or what can we do to increase our velocity? These behaviors where people start thinking and readjusting their plans based on what they can deliver and how many widgets they can deliver, instead of gathering feedback and readjusting and pivoting based on what they need to do. It's interesting because they care so much less about what the consumer's wants and needs are, and they're focused so much on how many widgets they create, that it turns out being that all plans that they make just end up falling away. It's instead of focusing on what the outcome of the story should be, everybody's focused on, is it going to be done right? And I think that it's unfortunate because I think that when this happens, it causes teams and organizations to build products and services that no one really wants because they're so dedicated to output. Coming at number 2, the overuse of metrics. Now, we've all worked in that organization before. I know I have. I have a closet full of t-shirts from this one, where people want to lean so heavily on what the reports and dashboards say. This is when management comes in and they say, we want to start measuring everything, right? And it's so hard when people want to measure everything, because the truth is everything isn't measurable. When you use a measure everything approach, it's going to help you to see that there's more problems than there are solutions. And it's going to cause you to feel like you are losing ground, that you're not gaining ground. The idea is that you should measure things that make sense and that are measurable, and not things that will cause you to fall away and misunderstand what you're trying to interpret. Coming at number 3, when you start doing rituals over culture, and this is when you don't have. So the easiest way for me to explain this is when you don't have an organizational psychological safety in place, and you start figuring that the anniversary of doing everything, or doing things for the sake of doing them, is more important than adhering to the culture and seeing people motivated and understanding why we're doing things. When you lose the why behind the what, right? And when you have individuals that fall away or individuals that become jaded, it's important for you to consider just how important culture is, and how culture can't be ruled by rituals. It needs to be the other way around. We need to make sure that we are involving culture and that the rituals support the culture that we involve. Okay, that was kind of confusing, but I think it's right. Coming in at number 4, when you start looking at and worshiping the tools. So let me explain what I mean by that. When I see organization's transition, and the first question they ask me is, what tool can we use to track XYZ? Or what tool should we be using to measure XYZ? I would rather have them forget about the tool for a while and have a deep understanding of why things are the way they are and what the purpose is and what the principles are that they should be following, than to totally lean on a tool and have a tool drive their entire thought process. I can't tell you how many times, and it's not a dog on a tool because Jira is a great tool, but I can't tell you how many times I go into organizations and they say, we need some Agile training. We need to learn the Jira. Can you teach us the Jira Agile? And I'm like, wow, that's great that Jira's built a reputation for itself, that it has its own Agile flavor. But, it's important for you to understand what Agile is and why you're doing it before it is, even more so than it is for you to focus on usage of a tool. Yes. And then, of course, the last one, I say the best for last, is when you start talking about the process and the framework that you have in place over the principles. So when you start talking about the magic pill, that there's this magic sequence you can do that's going to solve everything, and that there's this single threaded solution, a silver bullet, if you will, you're going to wind up in more hurt, more harm than good. There's no such thing as a kabam, you're done kind of thing, right? There's no such thing as Shazam and you're good. You need to understand how teams function, what they do, what types of products or services they're building, where the bottlenecks are in their delivery. Uh, does the team understand and resonate with what the goal is that you have in mind? Are they setting sprint and product goals? It's important for you to educate your team and involve them in decisions, but you also have to understand deeply the voice of the consumer and the voice of the team so that you can really figure out what the collective mindset is so that they can help you be successful as an organization. If you adhere and understand these five things, I think it's just going to make your agile transformation that much easier because people are all going to be on the same page with good understanding. Well, I hope that helps you. If you have an idea or an article that you'd like for us to review, send it over to learnmore@agiledad.com. We would love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.